This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. We end today's show in Haiti, where massive anti-government protests calling for the resignation of the U.S.-backed President Jovenel Moïse continue to escalate. The worsening economic crisis, a shortage of fuel and food, and corruption allegations against Moïse have sent protesters to the streets on and off for over a year. Hundreds demonstrated in the capital Port-au-Prince on Monday, and another protest is scheduled today. Much of Port-au-Prince has been on lockdown for the past 2 weeks. At least 4 people have been killed in recent days after Haitian police opened fire on protesters using live ammunition and tear gas. This is Haitian protester Charles.
We demand a clean slate to change the system. The potential departure of Haitian President Jovenel doesn't mean that things will just change. We're going to continue fighting to achieve change in this diabolical system. They won't be able to kill us all. I'm certain that we will have victory.
Protesters are also demanding a deeper investigation into accusations that President Moïse and other Haitian top officials embezzled billions of dollars in proceeds from the Venezuelan-subsidized oil plan, Petrocaribe. Haiti hasn't had a prime minister since July, as the opposition has rejected Moïse's pick. As of last week, a new round of votes was indefinitely postponed after a ruling party senator pulled out a gun and shot at protesters, injuring an AP photojournalist and a security guard. As a new round of protests threatened to paralyze Port-au-Prince today, Moïse, who was elected in 2017, still refuses to step down. For more, we're joined by Jacqueline Charles, the Haiti and Caribbean correspondent at the Miami Herald. She's reported on Haiti for over a decade and was a Pulitzer Prize finalist for her coverage of the 2010 Haiti earthquake. Jacqueline, welcome to Democracy Now! It's great to have you with us. Can you describe what is happening and what's behind fueling these protests, and now a number of deaths in the protests?
Well, as you mentioned in your introduction, I mean, the economy is just free-falling. The inflation rate right now is about 20%. The country actually has not had a prime minister since March, although there are 2 individuals that have the title, but neither one has been confirmed through Parliament. I mean, the economy is worsening. Haitians are frustrated, and they have these chronic fuel shortages. I mean, Haiti's fuel bill right now is about $130 million that they owe. And what we have been seeing is that every couple of weeks, you can say, there's no fuel or people can't get fuel. So you have these long lines of individuals standing with these yellow jugs trying to get fuel. What we saw with the corruption allegations, I mean, there was a little bit of a quiet time, and then on May 31st, the Superior Court of Auditors, they released this 600-plus page report where they talked about the embezzlement of the Petrocaribe dollars, which Haiti currently owes Venezuela about $2 billion. And current President President Jovenel Moïse is among those who have been indicted or implicated actually in that report.
So let's go to Haiti's President Jovenel Moïse addressing the nation last week at 2 in the morning. His speech came one day after a ruling party senator opened fire. He fired a gun to disperse protesters outside the Haitian parliament, injuring an AP photojournalist and a security guard. This is President Moïse.
Après de multiples tentatives,
we have verified the Senate is not able to fulfill its constitutional obligations to give the country a legitimate government, rejecting the ratification of a general policy statement by 2 successive governments, ignoring the forms of the laws of the Republic and the democratic principles. 7 months ago, we registered 2 rejected sessions. I take notes. I've canceled the trip that I should have taken to participate in the UN General Assembly. I made that decision to address the country's problems. I am talking about the political, economic, and social situation. Haiti has long been facing difficult situations of misery, unemployment, insecurity, and political problems that block the functioning of schools by paralyzing other activities.
So that's the Haitian President, Moïse. Jacqueline, can you tell us where he is right now?
Well, I heard that yesterday he finally did make it to the palace. Interesting enough, that speech, which was a pre-recorded address that he provided at 2 a.m. in the morning on Wednesday of last week, no one had heard from him or seen him in over a month. The last statements he had made, or the last public appearance, was on August 14 when he announced the reestablishment of the Haitian Armed Forces. And then after that address that came in at 2 a.m. in the morning, we had not heard from him. In fact, this week he called it in. He had a cabinet meeting with, his government officials, and he did it over the telephone. Yesterday, the Miami Herald wrote an editorial where basically it says, President Moïse, you need to come out of hiding. And, we like to take a little bit of credit to think that he read that editorial and decided to actually go down to the palace yesterday.
Well, in an op-ed published in Al Jazeera Monday, political economist, climate policy expert Keston K. Perry wrote, quote, "The crisis started last year and was compounded by natural disasters that have repeatedly devastated the island nation. Hurricanes destroyed housing, food production, livelihoods, and infrastructure, and a severe drought dried up the island's water resources. While international media has focused on a familiar story of corruption and mismanagement, what lies beneath this debilitating crisis is much more serious, a deadly combination of neocolonialism, neoliberalism, and climate injustice. Indeed, what's happening now in Haiti is extreme and should scare us all, as it foreshadows what could happen to the rest of the planet if we do not take immediate action," he wrote. Can you respond, Jacqueline Charles?
I've seen that editorial, and there's a lot of chatter that's going on about it. But honestly, at the root of this is the issue of corruption. I think similar to what you're seeing in Hong Kong, this new generation of Haitians are saying, listen, we're not going to go to Chile, we're not going to go to Brazil and try to come to the United States. This is our country, and we need to change it. The system that was put in place after the fall of the dictatorship, in 1987, it's not working anymore. I mean, they're just basically fed up. When this incident happened, this latest round of protests, the same day where you had the senator opening fire, days before, you had parliamentarians who went on the radio and publicly admitted to accepting bribes, to install President Jovenel Moïse's latest choice for prime minister. And then you had another parliamentarian, a senator, who in fact says, I don't know any government in this country that has been confirmed without money passing hands. So when people heard that vote buying and they can't get fuel, they can't put their kids in school, their purchasing power has fallen by over 100% in 5 years. It's just enraging the population. And so when we look today, we see Haitians up in arms all over the place. Yes, the country has not recovered from the 2010 earthquake. It is still dealing with the fallout of Matthew. It is at a high risk of climate change. It dodged a huge bullet just a few weeks ago with Dorian, what we saw, what it did to the Bahamas. But for Haitians, if you talk to them, when you hear them on the streets, what they are denouncing is impunity and corruption that is happening. Their feeling is that because of mismanagement of the economy, because of the corruption, this is why the social situation is the way that it is. This is why there isn't fuel, or there's these chronic fuel shortages.
You mentioned the Bahamas, and you have, since the earthquake a decade ago in Haiti, thousands of Haitians fleeing to countries like the Bahamas, and now hit extremely hard in the Bahamas by that latest hurricane. Can you talk about this mass migration? Also, last night, Hillary Clinton gave a talk in Brooklyn, and there were Haitians protesting outside. I remember coming to Haiti after the earthquake and seeing President Bill Clinton, saying the only two things that matter to me now are my daughter's wedding and the rehabilitation of Haiti. The U.S. deeply involved with Haiti for so many years, and much of that not exactly constructive. Jacqueline Charles.
Yes, I mean, in fact, I was in the Bahamas just a couple of weeks ago, and the Haitians who were there are very concerned about their future and what's going to happen. I mean, when we look post-earthquake, there's been a huge migration, not just to the Bahamas, but to a country like Chile, where there's 100,000 Haitians that migrated in 1 year. That's 10% of Haiti's population. We also have Haitians on the U.S.-Mexico border today. I mean, Haitians have just gone anywhere they can go in order to try to get some sort of relief. And every time we see that the situation turns volatile in Haiti. We see Haitians either trying to get out by boat or they're trying to get out by plane. And yes, after the earthquake, what you saw was President Clinton and the international community, especially the U.S., saying, you know, we're going to do this, we're going to change things. I think there was a lot of promises that were made, including $13 billion, which I've been asking people in the last couple of weeks, do you think $13 billion came here? And they're telling me no, that $13 billion did not come here. Haitians have very mixed views. What they find is under, you know, President Obama, with Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State, the U.S. was really involved, especially in terms of the elections. So a lot of them hold the U.S. responsible for what's happening here with President Jovenel Moïse, who was the hand-picked successor of former President Michel Mateli. But with every Haitian election, there's always allegations of fraud. There's always issues. And even today, as Haitians are fighting for this change, right, in the back of their mind or at the forefront of it is, where does the U.S. stand on this question? You know, just recently, a few days ago, you had members of the opposition who sat down with the U.S. ambassador, the UN representative, and others from the donor community. And that meeting did not go very well because what they are looking for is support in their mission, in their push to get President Jovenel Moïse to resign. And he says he's not going to step down.
And finally, the Haitians that are in this country who are demanding that TPS be extended, President Trump wanting to kick them out, your response?
Well, Nancy Pelosi is going to be in Miami tomorrow, and she is going to be meeting with about 10 members of the Haitian community. She's going to be having a roundtable discussion. And U.S. Congresswoman Frederica Wilson, who represents the largest constituency of Haitian Americans, are going to be there, and they're going to hear from them where clearly the issue of temporary protected status is going to come up. I mean, imagine right now, you see what's happening in Haiti, you see the protests, you see the economic situation, and you are in this country, you have temporary protected status, which is supposed to expire in January, albeit there are about 5 legal cases going through the courts right now. But to live with that kind of uncertainty and to hear the Trump administration say everything is well in Haiti, it very much is
Jacqueline Charles of Miami Herald, thanks so much for being with us. I'm Amy Goodman. This is Democracy Now!